What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing an in-depth as possible guide for the new revamped Dokkan Ultimate Speed Battle. I know that there are a lot of players out there already struggling with this. I'm sure that by the time this event goes away at the end of the anniversary on August 11th, that there are a lot of people who will not have achieve the mission of beating it within 2 minutes and 25 seconds. It is a very, very difficult feat, so I'm going to try my best to make that easier for you guys in today's video. So, the way that this event runs is you've got the first phase against this Final Form Frieza, who actually guards. He is like one of the first enemies that we've ever had. I think actually the first enemy that we've ever had who guards. It's very important to note that you have to critical hit against this guy in order to do damage. Otherwise, he's going to hit like the same way you hit B-Pan, where you'll do absolutely no damage to them. So, yeah, keep that in mind. You do have to critical hit on that first phase. I've also heard that 18 key supers that do like mega colossal damage are also able to punch through that guard a little bit. But I promise you that's not going to be enough to depend on to get the 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Because in order to get this mission done, you are definitely going to have to kill this first phase in one hit. And that's not going to happen with just a generic 18 key super. You're going to have to critical hit for sure. On the second phase, it is an AOE phase because you've got 5 enemies to beat. So you need to make sure you have an AOE character on your team that can target all of the enemies at once. The other caveat with this phase, why it's not so simple, is because while all of the Cell Juniors will definitely die with a pretty basic AOE attack, the Int Cell himself will not. He has much more defense. He has a way higher health pool. So you're going to need either a really, really strong AOE physical type unit like Dragon Ball Super Broly or physical cell, something like that. Or you're going to also need another really strong, preferably physical type unit on your team alongside the AoE unit so that you can do one attack for the AoE to kill all the Cell Juniors and take out some of the damage from the cell, and then another unit to follow up and just mollywop cell so that you can move on to the third fight quickly. And then in this final fight, it is worth noting that this Boo will actually nullify melee super attacks. So this is unarmed super attacks. This is the one where with the fist symbol. We'll get a little bit more into that, a little later in the video. So that is the basic breakdown for what you want to have here. You need a unit that can crit. You need an AoE unit and some strong unit to take out Cell in the second phase. And then you need to make sure you have no melee super attacks on that third phase. That's how you're going to be able to get through this event in the most efficient manner. So, if we look at this a little bit deeper here, let's first go ahead and take a look at all of the AoE characters in the game. So, this is the list here. Shout out to the Dokkan Wiki. You guys can hop over here on the fandom and find this page yourself if you want to refer back to this or look at each of these units individually to kind of break down, because I won't be doing that. I'll just point out a few of the ones that are the best. But this is a super easy page to find. All you have to do is go to Guides, Team Help, and then all skill effects, and then you'll be able to find the all target super attack page on there. So yeah, there are quite a few AoE characters that you can choose from now. Some of the, hardest hitting ones are definitely going to be like the brand new LR Super Boo, which I know not a lot of people have. The Extreme Z Awakened World Tournament Piccolo, he can definitely be a good option since he gets guaranteed crits against all those enemies. He could be a very good option for this for sure. And then again, you do have a few strong physical ones. Obviously, the best option in the game for this event would be this Dragon Ball Super Broly. But then we also have the World Tournament Krillin, who, I say World Tournament because he's good for the World Tournament, but this Prime Battle Krillin, who is probably decent for that because, again, type advantage against the Cell means he's going to do more damage. And then same thing with this Perfect Cell here. So yeah, as you can see here, there are quite a few different AoE units that you can choose from. I'm sure that there are other ones that can get this event done. But yeah, those are just like the best few that I think would be viable. I suppose also Raditz could be decent, but he isn't going to be getting his guaranteed crits unless you're on the second phase. That's the only thing. So I suppose he could be good for taking down that second phase, but not much other than that. Okay, so that's the AoE characters portion, and then there's also, you could find this list in the exact same spot as the other one. These are all of the units that have some type of critical hit mechanic. Now, while any character in the game can critical hit based on how you build their potential system, it is possible for them to critical hit. This is going to be able to give you a greater insight into a lot of the units that have some type of critical hit, condition built into their card, so that they're kind of more dependable units. So you're not stuck in that RNG nightmare of just trying to hope you critical hit every time. Which is how I originally started trying out the event, and it was just not working, right? So I'd say it's definitely better to try and find a unit that has some type of critical hit mechanic that is able to, give you a much higher chance there. So yeah, there are a few different units that come to mind. You're going to have to factor in, though, you need the critical hits on turn 1. So certain units are just completely exempt from this. For example, these first two here, Perfect Cell and the blue Gogeta here, they both have to transform first. You can't get them until turn 4 or turn 5. So obviously you're not going to be able to depend on their 100% chance to crit on turn 1. So you do have to keep track of those things. You have to keep that in mind. I think this Super Vegeta would be decent, but because he has type disadvantage on that first phase, I don't actually think that he'll one-shot the Frieza, even though he does have a 100% chance to crit. You could try him, though. Might be a decent option. But yeah, so keep that in mind if you do decide to look through this list, that there are, pay attention specifically to the restrictions. You can open up any one of these cards just by clicking on them and be able to read through the kit and see exactly how their critical hit works. For Raditz here, again, after receiving an attack when facing 2 or more enemies, so he's perfect for that second phase. He'll be able to crit everybody, right? This is another unit that I was eyeballing, is the Tech Master Roshi, because his very first attack that he does in battle will be a critical hit, and he actually gives himself like a massive attack bonus just for one attack, and that's all you really need in this fight. So he could actually be a decent option as well. And then again, some of these are when using active skills, so obviously these aren't going to be available for you turn 1. Bunch of different things to think about here, right? So, I guess you could also, okay, so like when the target enemy is in attack or defense down status and key is 18 or more, that is reasonable, because there are units you can put on a team whose passive skill will lower the enemy's attack and defense, so that right at the beginning of the turn, they're already in the attack and defense down status, and then he will dish out a critical hit. And this guy is a tech unit too. He might actually be a decent unit for that first phase, now that I think about it. I have put a few team builds together as example teams. I think I might actually put a team build together with this guy too. We'll see. But yeah, so there are just honestly endless options here. It goes for a very long time. So these are all the ones that just have a base, see, these are all the guaranteed crits. These are all the ways to get 100% chance to crit, which is obviously the most reliable thing. The best overall unit would be this guy right here, because this Super Saiyan Namek Goku gets a 100% chance to crit when there's an enemy Frieza, and that's exactly who you're facing in that first fight, so that is perfect for him. You know that as long as you have him on the rotation, you're going to be getting that critical hit off, and it'll work well. So that is a very, very good restriction for this event. So yeah, he is definitely the best. But yeah, so there are quite a few here, and then we've got a few more tabs to kind of scroll through. So again, there's more. This is going to be a similar, a similar set to those ones, but these units aren't as good because they're not giving themselves 100% chance with whatever condition. They're only giving themselves 70, 59, 50, whatever it is on here, right? But there are, again, countless units to choose from. So if you did just want to choose some type of unit that has a little bit better chance to crit, than just your average unit with, like, some crit in their hidden potential, then this is a good place to find those guys. The UI Goku is one that I tried using for a little while. The LR version should be up here somewhere. Right here. Yeah, so he's got 50% chance when performing a super attack, and they stack, right? So, this guy, first super attack, he has a 50% chance. Second super on, he has a guaranteed chance to perform a crit, and I suppose that's true for all 4 of these units here. Well, this is a rage mode, so this one doesn't really count, but these 3. So yeah, and then, like you've got these guys, these all just have like a base 50% chance to crit with no restriction there, so that's definitely helpful, right? So yeah, lots of different options here for different places to crit. Then there are units that get stacking crit. This is, again, another decent option. A lot of them, are per key sphere obtained. So if you're able to, you know, select whatever type of key sphere and get multiple of them, then you'll be getting a higher chance to crit. You might want to stay away from some of these ones that are like with each attack performed or with each attack received, because again, turn 1 right out the gates, you're not going to have that stuff built up yet. But this is decent, like per category ally on the team. So if you're able to build it based on whatever restriction it says, whatever type of category ally you need, then you can at least give yourself that crit chance just by building the team. So when they hop into the turn, they will have that crit chance available and ready to go. So yeah, there you go. These are some more options for you there. And then this is a big one to note. The support crit chance characters. Now, these are units that are giving crit chance to other characters. This can be very, very valuable so that you potentially can just use whatever units you want that hit hard and then use one of these support units that have, you know, a chance to help a different unit get a critical hit off. So you could just throw a really strong attacker that, you know, that doesn't have like a lot of crit in his, you know, hidden potential or whatever, and then just use one of these units to allow them to critical hit. And it is common for these units that are providing crit chance to the enemy or to the other allies to also be providing additional stats to allies. It is very, very common. A lot of the units on this list are actually support type units who are going to be worth more than the crit chance that they provide to your units. It may be worth making sure that whatever category support that they have, whatever your main attacker is also on that category so that you can take advantage of the attack support as well to do more damage. That can be very, very helpful, especially for that third phase against Boo. So yeah, this can be something very, very, you know, good to think about. So while we're talking about support units, that is the next thing that I want to go over, because the formula for building these teams, you know, as long as you've got those 3 things that we talked about with the crit chance unit, the AOE unit, and then avoiding the melee super attacks, what you want to fill out the rest of your team with, essentially, is support. You want to just try and put the best support type units as possible. This event does not hit very hard, so you don't need to worry about dying. It's okay to have units that aren't even on the leader skill. You should be okay. But it is definitely worth having some support units around. So really quick, we're going to go over some of the best support units in the game, so I can show you, you know, just ones that you could throw in on the team that will be giving the best possible attack support or key support and whatnot. So the first unit we have here is the AGL Dokkan Fest Turles. This guy is giving all allies 3 key and attack 40%, so that is absolutely perfect. This is an example of one of those units that will lower the enemy's attack. So when we were talking about like that, the Tech First Form Cell, the Prime Battle EZA, this is a unit you could use alongside him to make sure that you can proc his critical hit. So that could be a good option for you. The next one we have is the LR Bulma. She gives all allies 3 key and attack 37% if you're getting 5 or more key spheres obtained. It's also worth noting that she is giving this buff for 2 turns. So when you're coming into, you know, later phases of the fight, even if she's not on rotation, as long as she was on the previous rotation, you're still going to be providing that support. So she's actually a very, very good support unit, because you don't even have to have her on rotation to benefit from that support, right? Another unit here is the Physical Kid Buu. Gives all allies 2 key and then attack 50% when HP is 80% or above. You should be able to stay above 80% HP throughout the entirety of this fight. And then even if you fall below, you're still going to be getting 30%, which is still decent. So then next up we have the Tech Yajirobe here. This guy is going to be giving all allies 30% attack and defense in 1 key. And then he gives an additional Key 1, attack and defense 20% for all allies for 3 turns when you're the 3rd unit in the turn to obtain key spheres. So essentially, if you run him in slot 3, which is where you should be running him anyway, then you're going to be giving this buff to allies for 3 turns. So the entire time that he's gone until he comes back around onto rotation, you'll always have 20% attack and defense there. And then the turns that he is on rotation, you'll get the additional 30. So he's actually going to be a 50% support unit while he's on rotation, which is very, very good. Oh, I guess it's also worth mentioning that because if you run him not on the leader skill, he has this ability here to survive KO attacks. So he really won't get you killed. It's very, very good, especially because he's got the great chance to evade too, right? This is probably, I would say, the best support unit to run in this event, for sure. Okay, another really solid one that we've got here is the Supreme Kai of Time. She is going to be all allies key 3, attack and defense 40%, so very, very good. And then she also gives them, she is one of those units that gives the crit chance. So giving your units 12% crit chance, again, gonna be really, really awesome. And then she also has a great chance of giving some additional attack, which is nice. So yeah, this could be a very, very good unit. Potentially, she's going to allow a unit to critical hit while giving them 3 key and potentially 52% attack. So yeah, this is also a very, very good option to have as a support unit there, if you've got her. Okay, and then next up, probably not quite as good, but still worth mentioning, is this Super Saiyan Bardock here. So he is just an all allies key 2 and attack and defense 30% support. As he is an all allies support, he definitely helps you out a lot. And this guy can actually deal a little bit of damage because he's getting 180% attack on super, so it's a multiplicative buff there. So he can definitely, you know, it's rare for these good support units to be able to actually help you dish out a little bit of damage too, but I think this guy might be able to. Though it's worth noting the final phase is against the STR Boo, so he's going to have type disadvantage there, which will hurt him a little bit for sure, right? Okay, and then the last support unit that I wanted to mention here is the Bola. So she is giving all allies key 3 and attack 40%. So that's pretty much all there is to it with her. But she is, you know, a decent support unit there as well. So yeah, you could basically run any, you know, any of the core units that you want, and then just throw any of these support units on the team, and that will be helping you out greatly. So now let's go ahead and switch over to in-game really quick here. So there were a few things I wanted to show you. The first part I wanted to go over that I said we were going to be talking about later is the super attack types, right? So if we go in here to team formation, we'll go down here. Okay. So these are all 4 super attack types. We've got Ki Blast, Unarmed, Physical, and Other, right? The unarmed super attacks are the only ones that you don't want to have on the team. That way you can perform effective attacks against the Boo, because if you launch an unarmed super attack, he's just going to nullify it and you'll do 0 damage. You will have wasted all the time that you spent through that super attack animation. You're not going to do any damage to him. So it's really important to make sure you only have Ki Blast, Physical, and Other type super attacks. So if we take a look at this unit here, this is where you can see what type of super attack they have. If you open up the card, right next to, before it names their super attack, you'll be able to see that. It is also worth mentioning that you have to keep in mind, because LRs have a 12 key and an 18 key, they can actually have different super attack types depending on which attack they're doing. So a good example of this is this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. If we go ahead and take a look at his 12 key when he's transformed, he does an unarmed super attack, and his 18 key actually does a Ki Blast, which means the Ki Blast super attack would do damage to the Boo, but if you manage to get an additional super and you do the unarmed, it's going to nullify that, right? And then even same thing in base. He has a Ki Blast on his 12 key, and then his 18 key. If it doesn't show a symbol next to the attack, that means it's a special. It's the other type super attack. So both of these will launch, but it's just worth noting that they are different. So that's something to keep in mind when you are looking through your units to decide which ones to put on the team. Okay, so the very last thing that I want to do here, before I let you guys go, is I wanted to show you a few example team builds that I came up with. Really quick here. So this is the first team that I came up with for how to beat this event. So we've got this is just an Earthbred Fighters team. This could be a really, really strong option because Yamcha has a medium chance to crit built into his passive skill here. So, you know, that automatically gives him 30%, and if you're able to throw a little bit of extra crit on him with some potential orbs, or, you know, in his hidden potential, or with some equipment and stuff, then that could definitely help you, especially because he has the active skill that you can launch right at the beginning of the turn, so long as all enemies, or all allies in the turn, are Earthbred Fighters, and if you manage to crit on that, then you could probably do a lot of damage very quickly, and because it's an active skill, you can skip the animation, and you could actually take out a phase even quicker than doing a super attack that would be a critical hit, right? But there is definitely RNG involved in that. You're probably not going to get this done first try if you try and use him as, you know, as your main crit unit. But then you've also got on this team the Piccolo Jr. Giant form, who is definitely worth mentioning here because he has his AOE active skill. So at the beginning of the second phase, when you're facing off against the 5 Cell cards, you're going to be able to launch his active skill and then kill all of them immediately, obviously except the Cell. So you're also going to need him to perform multiple additional supers, on that turn to kill Cell, or have other units alongside him who are able to take down Cell so that you can beat that phase in one turn. So here we've also got, this is where I decided that the Master Roshi would be really good. So the most ideal way to make this work is to have him on the first turn, because I'm pretty confident, because he gets the attack 628% and the guaranteed crit, he should be able to take out that Frieza in one hit. So this could be a really, really good option to take down that first phase very quickly, because he's got that guaranteed crit there. And then beyond that, I just put the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, because that last phase is against an STR Buu. So you're going to want to make sure that you have really, really strong AGL type characters. Unfortunately, there isn't really a ton of AGL hard hitters on Earthbred fighters. So it might be a little bit tough with this. Although I didn't even think to check Saiyan Saga. I really only built Earthbred fighters here. And then you can see I left the last two slots open, because that's up to interpretation for based on how you want to run this, or how the event is kind of working out for you. Whether you want to put 2 support units here, whether you want to put another strong AGL attacker to help you with that final phase, and 1 support unit. However, those things are very intermixable, but this is the core to the team that would definitely help you out the most, right? So then the second build that I've got here is a Gamma-based team. So it's Artificial Life Forms and Movie Boss hybrid. First, really quick, I need to address, this is not the character that I mean to put here. It's the AGL LR Super Buu, the Yellow Coin LR. I don't have him, though, so I wasn't able to put him on the team, but that's who this character is supposed to represent. The AGL Super Buu, as he is one of the strongest AoE units in the game right now. He will definitely mollywop that second phase for you, so he could be a very, very good idea. Because he is on Artificial Life Forms, you can run him under Gamma 1's leader skill, and then that means you can put Gamma 2 on the team, who has a really a good chance to crit. He's got stacking crit chance. So he is a unit that you could potentially depend on critting in that first phase, and he's also a very strong AoE unit, so by the time you're in that, or not AoE, I'm sorry, a very strong AGL unit, so by the time you're, at the final phase against that Buu, he will have been stacked up a little bit, and as long as you've got him paired up with Gamma 1 and maybe some other support on the turn, it's very possible that Gamma 1 could one turn, or Gamma 2 could one turn the final phase against Buu. And then obviously we've got Orange Piccolo here, because he is just a very hard-hitting unit, who can help you out. Definitely, right? And then same deal here, the 2 empty slots can be for support units of whatever you choose, or other additional hard-hitting attackers that fit under the leader skill. So keep in mind that you're only going to have 1 Gamma 2 here, and he is a pretty staple unit, because with this build, you're pretty much depending on Gamma 2 to crit in the first phase, and to and to deal most of the damage in the final phase. But that's also why I put Piccolo here, because he can be that unit that has the potential chance to crit in that first phase, or potentially do some additional damage in that final phase, right? So that is another example of a team. So the very final team that I want to show you is the most common team. I decided to leave it till the end of the video, because there are many other videos out there showing, showcasing this exact team. So I didn't feel it was necessary to open with it, but that is how I'm going to leave you guys, is with the team that I actually used to take down this event and get the clear time done. It's the team that I have seen clear this event most commonly. So without further ado, enjoy that run. What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So we are going to run the Ultimate Speed Battle yet again. I have found another new team here that is probably pretty viable for this. This isn't my team, but I looked it up, and it looks like some people have gotten the missions cleared with this team. So the idea here is, because the Namek Goku gets guaranteed critical hits against a Frieza enemy, we know that we're going to be getting that critical hit off in that first phase, so we won't have to worry about that. And then the idea is to use the Dragon Ball Super Broly in order to, in order to finish off the AoE phase in the middle. And then we have the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who's going to be able to get his transformation off against the Kid Buu at the end. The only caveat is we need to be below 58% HP, so I'm hoping between the Int Android 18 and the Yajirobe, neither of which are on the leader skill, we'll be able to take some damage in that second phase in order to be below the HP threshold that we need to be at, in order to, tank well and then ultimately win. Okay, Well, it looks like we got perfect rotations. This is actually exactly what we wanted to see. So the very first thing we're going to do is this. Okay. So he's going to get the guaranteed crit, and this should just one-shot the freeze, no problem. I believe. I think. I hope. I hope. Honestly. Let's see if we get it. There we go. So we one-shot the Frieza. So that part is done. Now we have to do the AoE part with Broly. We're going to put Broly in the second slot, like this. That way we can hopefully take some damage right here first. And then we'll go ahead and finish it off after that. Is that enough? Oh, that's not nearly enough. Oh, well, he's going to take a few more hits here. So hopefully we can get below the 50%. Oh, are we dead? Oh, we're not dead. We're not dead. But that's good. Now we're below the HP threshold we needed to be below. So hopefully from this point here, we can actually finish off this phase with Dragon Ball Super Broly. I think we're going to need to get a little bit lucky here with our attacks. That critical hit helped a lot, a lot. That was really, really good. Okay, and then we get the additional super. Is this also going to be a critical hit? If we can get another crit here, I think we're in business. There we go. So we finished off this cell. Perfect. And then now we have the AGL Gohan, who should be able to transform because we are below 58%, and we have the Android 16 on the team. So we'll do that. Transform him up there. Perfect. He gets all the key sphere changing, and then we'll go ahead and select all these key spheres for him. He'll get a pretty strong attack in there, and then we've got Namek Goku here to finish up. Yajirobe also is here for some support as well, so he's going to be boosting our attack by even more. So let's see if we can go ahead and get the win here. An 18 million attack stat. Not bad, not bad. That's definitely what we want to see. Can we critical hit and just finish this off in one shot? Oh, so close, so close. Okay, okay. So as long as this Namek Goku is able to clean up here, we should be able to get all the missions done. Let's see, let's see. There we go. Okay, that should have been the time that we needed. That was really quick. Okay. That was very fast. Wow, this team works out amazingly. But obviously, it's very, very dependent on your rotations, right? Okay, so there you go. We got 2 minutes and 19 seconds. We were able to get that final mission done. But you need to get those perfect rotations. I actually can't believe that I just managed to get those rotations very first try using that team. That was absolutely perfect. I imagine it was probably a nightmare for some people to try and get the perfect rotations for that. But there you go. So we were able to get all of the missions cleared. Perfect stuff. Awesome. Easy peasy. Not really, but, you know, it was. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching my pain and misery to ultimately my success. Hopefully that is a very helpful guide. Gives you guys all the breakdown that you need to get this done yourself. Let me know what your guys' fastest time was on this event. If you have beat mine, that would be very, very impressive. Well, that's going to do it for this one, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!